Okay, I had this video pre-recorded but I inadvertently deleted it, so I'm going to have to redo it and drop it. And so today is good old Wednesday midweek video. So today we're still getting into doing the deep dive onto Trinity. So I'm going to go into the the psi orders, so that way you can get a knowledge of like the types of characters that you can actually play. So I do have a character creation where I kind of go over the character that I played almost 30 years ago. He was a biokinesis, so I figure I go right through all the orders in somewhat random order, but uh, to start things off, I'm going to start off with the Legionnaires. Now they're pretty much like the soldiers of the psi order. So in D&D sense, think of them as like the barbarians, the fighters, the rangers. So on this first page, like you can see, like they're broken up into 7 orders. So like each chapter, instance chapter, they go through like a side, like the explanation. They have like little sidebars. Here you can see them actually get into like the first 2 orders, and then like in the next page, you can see how they get into like the rest of the orders, the legions for this order. So we'll going through them, you can like pause and look at the pictures again. So first off is like the first legion. It's pretty much the home guard, and like they are pretty much in a sense like the garrison, like the home defense. They're stationed in Australia because the Legionnaires are based in Australia, and you'll see that like a lot of the psi orders have like in a sense a home base on each different continent. So here the Legionnaires, like I said, are in Australia. The Ministry, which are the telepaths, they're based in China. The Biokinesis, the Norca, who my character was, they're based in South America. Orgitech, the Electrokinesis, they're based in North America. You have like the Escuplians, or the doctors. They are pretty much, in a sense, in D&D sense, they're the clerics and the druids. They're based in Europe. And then of course in based in the moon, you got the Israrans, the Isran, Isra, or the short for they are in a sense like your clericants. So think of them as like your psi type, your psionics in D&D. So psi here, psi orders here, psionics in D&D, but they're like kind of your people that can in a sense see into the future. So they're based on the moon, and so ISRA's, like I said, it's actually short for Interplanetary School for Research and Advancement. But I'm kind of going off on a sidebar as I'm trying to quickly cover all the other orders. Now the 2 that that in a sense are no more. The Chitrubanu, they were based in India, and like the teleporters, the Upeo Wamucho, I'm probably butchering the pronunciation like I always do with other stuff. They were based in Africa. But now getting back to the Legionnaires, like I said, their home guard, First Legion, is based in Australia, the home guard, where they so that's where they pretty much reside. Now the second is called the Fortune's Knight. So these are basically the mercenaries. So like if you're a private organization like a corporation, or if you're a government and you're looking to hire some extra oomph for like security detail, or like a military personnel, like mercenaries or something, and you want that in a sense elite type of soldiers, because in a sense that's what Legionnaires are. They're kind of like Delta Force, Navy SEALs, Green Berets. That's kind of like the type of a soldier or legionnaire you get. So like with Fortune's Knights, so you hire out hey, look, we need some security detail and we want like the best of the best. So you go to Legionnaires and you get the second Fortune's Knight. Now the third is called Support Force 1. It's pretty much made up of in a sense non-science, and so it's like the support, as it says, Support Force 1. They're basically dealing with the logistics, so the bureaucratic system. They're dealing with the paperwork. Think of the first sergeant that's sitting behind the desk and everything, and running the base, for the major and everything. So they deal like with like I said, the administrative stuff, the like behind the scenes and everything. So now the fourth is called vengeance. And so, like when Legionnaires want to hire people that have like a burning desire to or like that hatred of aberrants, and they want to bring the war to them, they hire into like the fourth and everything. Because like the aberrant war pretty much like destroyed just about everything, and only like 2 or 3 generations later, there's still that burning hatred and everything for the aberrants. So this is what the fourth is, all about vengeance and everything. So now like the fifth Legion is based in the Americas, so where they can start drawing people from, they can start recruiting people from North and South America. Like, hey, look, do you want to become like the next Navy SEAL or whatever? That way, like in Americas, they pull people from there, so they're based in America. Sixth is the same kind of concept, but they're based in Europe and everything. Now, they did create like a seventh Legion called Phoenix Squadron in the year 2113, and the game is set in 2120, because Legionnaires were like, for after 10 years after they first appeared, they're like, hey, a lot of shit is going on in space. We kind of need a force out in space to kind of better respond to those threats and everything, because they have like a lot of colonies and stuff on the moon, like Olympus and like underground like bases and everything. It's a lot easier to have like a Legionnaire, a Legion based out there to better respond to like outside threats, in a sense, the space threats, versus like, okay, now we have to launch people up from like from Earth, which takes maybe like 20 minutes to get up into outer space, versus maybe 10 minutes from launching them from the moon or something. So that's why they created the seventh, the Phoenix Squadron. So now they do have like little blurbs on here, like how like they interact with like the other orders. So like they kind of like do a little side blurb on like okay, so this is kind of how Legionnaires get along with like other orders, and like they do that like with the other orders as well. As like so you can kind of see some overlap in between them. So now that this is like the, in a sense, the color section. So the color section in all these books and everything is kind of like a background information for both the game master and the players and everything. So in like adventure books and everything, you'll also see in like every book, you'll see like the black and white like print and stuff. And in this book, the players, in a sense, the player's handbook, this is for both game masters and players alike, because it deals a lot with like the character creation and everything. So now each order has like several like in a sense like what's called modes. And so like for instance here with like the Legionnaires, they have like each has 3 different modes, and like in a sense what gives them their abilities. So like in character creation, you have like the aptitude table and everything. So what it does is like this game is based on dots, like on like a rating of 1 to 5. Like your attributes are rated 1 to 5. Your abilities are rated 1 to 5. So like each dot gives you like in a sense an extra dice to roll for like successes and everything. So success on a die roll on a D10 would be 7, 8, 9, or 10. And so like the more dice that you roll, the better, because like the GM might say like the difficulty, or like in D&D terms, the DC might be like hey, you need to like roll like difficulties +3, so you need to roll 3 successes. So like if you're sitting there with strength and trying to bend a bar, if you have 1 strength and like no abilities and everything, then you're rolling 1 dice and you're not going to get that +3. So but if you have like a 5 strength and maybe like a corresponding ability, you're going to be rolling at least 5 dice to try and bend that bar, so you're going to have an easier time succeeding at that +3 difficulty. Now the abilities kind of work the same way, but like in a sense with this way, each dot gets you an ability. So like the Legionnaires, they have like the cryokinesis, pyrokinesis, and telekinesis, and all orders have like a basic technique or whatever that they can learn. So like for instance, like what these guys are called psychokinesis. Legionnaires, like I said, cryo, fire, ice, and telekinesis and everything. So they have like the basic ability of like temperature control. So like turn into like the page where that actually ability starts and everything. Go over the basic technique. So like the basic technique is temperature control. It's hard for a psychokinetic to resist exerting his power even slightly over his surroundings. The Scion adjusts the temperature of his surroundings almost reflexively to a range that he finds comfortable or that reflects his current mood. This technique is harmless to all but the most sensitive devices, but anyone near the psychokinetic will certainly feel the temperature change. So like how you do about this is like roll your psi. So like for instance, the psi is like instance how you can attune to your abilities. It pretty much scales from like 1 to 10. Pretty much like most of the time when you're creating a character, you usually start off with at least 4 or 5 psi. So you're rolling like 4 or 5 dice at least and everything. So like again, it's based on dots. So like 1 to 10 dots. In like this case, gives you 1 to 10 dice to roll. So it says roll your psi. Your character can raise or lower the temperature in a small area, roughly a 3-meter radius centered on him, by up to 15 degrees Celsius. The adjusted temperature drops off rapidly beyond the effect's radius until it equals the ambient temperature. The change lasts as long as your character concentrates. It's at a +1 difficulty to other actions while maintaining this effort, and temperature returns to normal 10 minutes afterward. Each extra success rolled can either add 1 degree Celsius to the temperature variation or extend the duration for 1 minute beyond the concentration. So that's kind of how like they go into like explanations of like the abilities and everything. So that's like the basic technique. So going back to like the actual table, you can see like when you first create Scion characters, you get three dots. So what you can do is, in a sense, either put like 1 dot in each mode, or like 3 dots in one mode, or any combination, like 1 dot in this mode, 2 dots in that mode, or some whatever. However you want to create your characters. So, as this book, I know like a kind of cheap book, but it's falling apart, but still works. Each so each one has like each mode has like 5 abilities, and like as you get more abilities in that specific mode, your in a sense lower level abilities become more powerful. So like for instance, like with the Legionnaires with cryokinesis, like they have thermal screen, hypothermic blast, flash freeze, heat sink, and cryo freeze. So as those go up and everything, like for instance, like your thermal screen, in the description, what I'll talk about is like how like at higher levels, hey, look, you get to this certain level, this you add this on. Think of like in D&D, like your subclasses. Like you start off with your subclass at level 3, but then you get like maybe like your first subclass ability at like level 7, and then maybe like level 15 and 20 or something like that. So that's kind of how that works. And the other abilities for pyrokinesis are flame immunity, heat burn, ignition, liquefy, and plasma control. And now telekinesis, they have tow, remote manipulation, force barrier, flight, and slingshot. So like getting like as you level up and everything, you can gain more and more abilities. But of course, like you have like a experience system in this game is like a slightly different than in like other games. Like in, for instance, in D&D, you might have to get like 2,000 experience to level up from level 1 to 2 and everything. And so like you get like say 500 from defeating like the monster lair big bad evil guy, and like when you're level 1. So like they have like an experience cost table here. So like how you like you want like once you get experience points. So like for instance, the game master might give like a 1-for-1 deal. So like you might get you get like 1 automatic experience point through like each scenery. So like think of like in D&D terms, going into like a combat with like a group of goblins, and you gain like say 50 experience points each from that encounter. The scenery is like the same thing, but you get 1 experience point for that, and then you get a 1-for-1 basis for something like GM might give you a point for discovery, exceptional role playing, heroism, wisdom, creativity, cohesion. So then like as you get so you have the chance to get like maybe like 4 or 5 different 4 or 5 experience points that you can use to be able to level up your character. So now they have like a sense like a current rating for your ability. So like for instance, like if your current rating of strength is 2, to increase it would be current rating times 6. So in essence, you need 12 experience points to raise that 2 strength up to a 3, and that's how it, like the times ratings are different for everyone. So like for instance, like willpower is current rating times 3, ability would be current rating times 4. So like to raise like your abilities, like those aptitudes and everything, yeah, aptitude mode would cost like 7 points and everything. So like that's for like a new trait, so, like for aptitude mode. So like to upgrade the current modes, like for instance, like if like yeah, like what I did with my character is I put 1 dot in each like mode. So to raise it from like 1 to 2, it would be current rating times 5. So like it would take like 5 points to raise it up to level 2 and everything. So the experience deal is like slightly different and everything. So like again, like you do have that variation to be able to create like how you do your characters. You could do it like I did, 1 dot in each, or you could do 3 dots in like one dot in one, 2 in another, or however combination you want to do, like I mentioned. So this is kind of like a quick overview of like how you like a quick overview of the Legionnaires, plus kind of like a good like a beginning concept of like how you like go about gaining experience and raising those points and those abilities and stuff and everything. So this is pretty much to kick off the good old like introduction to the psi orders. So we still got like 5 others that we're going to be going through. Plus, like once I get through all those, I'll do quick videos on like the 2 that are like in a sense no longer in existence or whatever, whether they were destroyed or they disappeared or whatever. So here is the psi order kickoff video, and we talked about the good old Legionnaires, pretty much the super soldiers of the Trinity universe.